Good morning, boys and girls. Today is April the 19th, and Miss Tabitha misses you all so very much. I'm so sorry that last week I did not get an Easter message up, but with the storms coming through and trying to get prepared for that, I lost track of time, and I'm so very sorry. I hope y'all had a blessed and safe Easter, and always remember the true meaning of Easter. It's not about the bunny, but it's about Jesus raising from the dead. So we're going to continue our lesson today with our Moses. And the week before we talked about God sending, remember the cloud that showed up and it led the children through the Red Sea, but it wasn't just any cloud, it was a cloud of God. So today we're going to talk about food from heaven. And our memory verse is, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of God. And that's found in Luke chapter 4, verse 4. Our lesson says, God had made a path through the sea for the children of Israel. He had protected them from the sun in the daytime and given them light at night. What do y'all think the light was? I think it was probably the moon shining very, very bright for them to be able to walk. Now they were ready to go to the land that God had promised them, but it was a very long journey to the land where they were going to live. Some of the people began to get tired of walking, and the water they brought was running out. Everyone was getting impatient. We've had no water for 3 days, the people complained. We shall soon die of thirst. I know that's how my kids are. They're very dramatic when they want something. Oh my goodness. And I can just imagine that the people in Israel are doing just the exact same thing. Finally, in the distance, they saw a pool of water. They rushed to get a drink, but their excitement turned to anger and disappointment. The water was bitter. We can't drink this, they shouted in disgust. Moses, what are we going to drink? Moses prayed to God. After Moses' sincere prayer, God showed him a tree and told Moses to throw it into the water. The bitter taste disappeared and the water became sweet and good. It was a miracle. The people were able to drink as much as they wanted. Okay, now look, we've changed our scenery. Says the Israelites traveled on, but soon they were complaining again. We're hungry, they said crossly with Moses. We wish we were back in Egypt. We have plenty of food there. Now you have brought us out into the desert to die of starvation. The people never thought of asking God to help them, and that made God very sad. But when Moses prayed to God, did something very special. The next morning when the people came out of their tents, they saw, as the dew disappeared, something white, something small and flaky all over the ground. They tasted it and it was sweet, like honey biscuits. I love honey biscuits. They did not know what it was, so they called it manna, which means, what is it? Moses told them, this is the food God has given you. Gather as much as you need for each household. So the people gathered it. Some got more than was needed, and some got a little less than necessary. Those who gathered more had nothing left over, and those who gathered a little less had enough. Each home had just the right amount for the day. Moses told them, now listen guys, don't try to store it overnight. But of course, someone listened. They left the manna out overnight. In the morning, when they looked at the food, it was full of bugs and smelled terrible. So they gathered the food each morning before the sun had made the ground hot and melted the manna. On the 6th day, Moses told the people, God has said there won't be any food from heaven tomorrow. Gather twice as much and cook all that you can collect today. Then set aside some for tomorrow. So they kept the food until the next day. At this time, the food was good without any bugs or smell. But some of the people did go out and look for food on the 7th day. God was not pleased, for those disobeyed. He said, how long refuse you to keep my commandments and my laws? For that the Lord hath given you the Sabbath. Therefore he giveth you on the 6th day the bread for 2 days. Abide every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day. Finally, the Israelites did as they were told. They had learned to obey. God fed the people for 40 years until at last they arrived in the land of Canaan. Can y'all imagine traveling for 40 years? Many years later, when Jesus was on earth, he said, "Men shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of God." Jesus also said, "I'm the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst." The children of Israel had all their needs supplied when they trusted God's promise. We too shall have God's promises that he will supply all our needs. So let me ask y'all some questions. Where were they traveling? Number 2, what was the food God sent to earth? What was it called? How did the water become sweet? And number 4, what did God tell us not to do on the 7th day? So next week, our lesson is God sends quail. I cannot wait till this next lesson either. And if you want to go ahead and start looking, it's going to be found in Exodus chapter 16, verse 12. And our memory verse is, "You shall know that I am the Lord your God." Guys, again, Miss Tabitha misses you all so very much. I cannot wait till we're all back together in the same classroom. I want to squeeze all of y'all, give y'all the biggest hug ever. I hope y'all have a blessed and safe week. Mind your moms and your dads. And be good. And I'll see you back here next week. Bye, guys.